Chapter 19. The teleprinter was clattering as Wilbur led Malone and Hamilton into the cab. Annie Green stood beside the stuttering machine, reading the incoming messages and taking notes on a clipboard pad. The controllers watched her silently. 3 were seated, 2 others were on their feet, sipping coffee. The young one with the longish hair puffed on a 100mm cigarette. They all looked grim. The teletype halted for a few seconds. Then it began to cough out another message. She nodded, scrawled something on her pad, and nodded again a moment after the machine stopped. Her eyes swept down and up, and down the column of numbers again. Then she turned and saw Malone. Their eyes locked for a few seconds before she broke free. It would be easier to talk to Pete Wilbur. He wasn't dangerous. He couldn't hurt her. "The printer's been going like crazy, Pete," she said with more energy than she felt. "Washington, the Tracon, and 19 airlines. I've been adding up the score." "What does that mean?" Malone demanded impatiently. "Washington's trying to peel off every plane it can reach," she announced, looking at Wilbur. "They've succeeded in diverting 11 of them." "How many are still up there?" the FAA executive asked. "For the 3 airports, it's 46, if my addition's right." "Is TWA 22 one of them?" Malone asked. She scanned the pad. "Yes," she answered coolly. "Is there something special about it?" "Captain Malone's daughter is on board," Wilbur explained. Annie Green flinched. "Oh my God," she gasped. Now she looked directly at Malone. She had to. "I didn't know, Frank. I really didn't know," she said in a choked voice. "How could you?" he responded evenly. "How much time have those planes got?" This was his child. How could he be so damn calm and rational? "Fuel figures are still coming in," she reported, "and the estimates on what those loads translate to in flying time could be off a bit. But so far the lowest seems to be some Arab prince's Concorde, 67 minutes. The next 3 are an Aerovias 747 with 69, British Airways 126 Heavy with 73, and a Japanese freighter with 76. Annie Green glanced at her pad again. "No word yet on TWA 22, she said. Something gleamed in Malone's wide blue eyes. It wasn't fear. "We better start gassing up that long-range jet number 1 asked for," the detective decided. "We did," she told him and looked at her wristwatch. "A DC-10 will be ready for takeoff in about 35 minutes. Suddenly, the teletype began to clatter again, and she hurried to the machine to monitor the new message. She studied it for several seconds. Then she turned to Malone and shook her head. The report coming in concerned some other plane. There was still no word on TWA 22's remaining fuel. Now one of the hotline phones on the wall rang. It was the yellow one, the direct link to police headquarters. The detective grabbed it. "Is Captain Malone there?" "Yes, speaking." "Please hold for Commissioner Shaw." Frank Malone didn't like Bruce Allen Shaw. The dapper man who ran the New York Police Department was too clever, glib, and ambitious for Malone's taste. The previous PC had been much less of a wheeler-dealer. "Captain Malone." "Yes, Commissioner." "Exactly what's going on out there?" The radar's gone, the radio's jammed, the instrument landing system's been wrecked, and there are 46 planes up there that we can't get down. I see. They don't. They've been flying blind and they're running out of fuel. Are those 3 prisoners on the way here? I've discussed this with the mayor. We're gravely concerned about this situation. Shaw said pompously. Gravely is the right word. Malone told him bluntly. We'll have 3,000 or 4,000 corpses to bury pretty soon. The first plane will drop in 66 minutes. The teleprinter stopped. Everyone else in the cab was watching and listening to Malone. Is that exact enough, Commissioner? He asked bitterly. I'd better get out there, Shaw announced. What about those 3 prisoners? It's a matter of principle, Bruce Allen Shaw said piously. The mayor and I feel it would be immoral to cave in to these thugs. In an election year, Malone thought. Captain, it would only encourage other terrorists to... The president just called. Malone interrupted ruthlessly. He's ordered immediate delivery of the 4 in federal custody to Kennedy. They're on their way. The president? He said he didn't want to be responsible for the murder of thousands of innocent civilians. That would dump the guilt for the loss of all those lives on the mayor of New York and his police commissioner. Humanitarian considerations come first, of course, Shaw said smoothly. That's always been my basic policy. Yes, and I'll come to the airport with them. And talk righteously to the press later, the detective thought. Public relations usually prevailed over principle around the world. Hell, shrewd public relations was a principle these days. As soon as possible, Commissioner, Malone urged. You can count on me, Captain. I never let my people down. The teletype began to stutter as Malone hung up. He's going to bring them out himself, the detective announced. Are you sure? Hamilton asked. Absolutely. He's already writing his speech, Malone replied. Wilbur looked uneasy. When did the president call? He wondered aloud. About 5 minutes from now. Captain, I think I underestimated you, the Husky Port Authority lieutenant admitted. You just bare-ass lied to the PC and the mayor. He's gonna tell that fable to the mayor, you know. Well, screw the PC and the mayor, Malone said. I think you just did, Hamilton told him. Then they heard a noise. It was faint but growing louder. It sounded mechanical and insistent, demanding attention. It was coming from down below, not from the runways, but from the network of feeder roads that brought cars, station wagons, and taxis to the terminals. After a few seconds, Malone and Hamilton recognized what it was. Sirens. They walked to a window on the side of the cab from which the noise was coming and peered down through the curtain of snow. Through the quivering white curtain, they saw an armada of New York City police cars. The turret lights on top were flashing as they drew up to the International Arrivals building, and their sirens ripped the night. 10, 11, 12. Hamilton counted. There goes the neighborhood. Malone didn't smile at the black lieutenant's jest. Somebody should have told the local precinct to order a silent approach. That somebody was Frank Malone. This was his own damn fault. The rest of the blue and whites carrying cops to JFK's other terminals would arrive with screaming sirens too. Patrolmen would pour into the buildings. That would start it. Everyone in those terminals, including the journalists whom Hamilton had deceived, would quickly realize that some terrible crisis was at hand. Confusion, rumors, and fear would sweep through the buildings like a vicious virus. The truth could not be concealed any longer. The people in the terminals would have to be told that 3 airports were under electronic attack, and that thousands of passengers on inbound flights were in mortal danger. Then it would happen, wild and ugly. Nothing and no one could prevent it now. Panic time, Frank Malone said grimly. Yeah, panic time, Hamilton agreed. Not just here, Malone thought. The reporters would be on their telephones in seconds. Within minutes, news of the ingenious terrorist assault would spew from thousands of wire service teleprinters and radio stations to shock the nation. Maybe that would jolt the federal government into rushing the other 4 on number 1's list to Kennedy. There was something wrong with that list. Something about that list that didn't fit, Malone thought, as he watched the uniformed police piling out of their cars. And there was a reason that it didn't fit. The tricky son of a bitch who had planned this complex operation didn't do anything without a reason. Malone considered the 7 names again. Thomas Macumbo, Simba Brown, Julio Sanchez and Carlos Arosa of the Fuerzas Armadas para la Liberación Nacional, Sandra Geller, Arnold Lloyd, Ibrahim Farzi. What the hell was it? Was it what was on the list or what wasn't? At that moment, the machine behind him stopped and Annie Green spoke. Frank, can I talk to you for a minute? Was it news about TWA 22? His heart beat faster as he turned and walked towards her.